Hello everybody, it's Sarah and I am so sorry that I have been absent for the last 2 weeks, but I have to turn in my bachelor paper this Saturday in a week, so it's been kind of hectic and I'm excited to get it finished, but I just couldn't find the time to really film. However, since I probably can't film again next week because uni's starting and I still need to figure out how I'll just get around my time schedule, I decided to just film a quick video this week to keep you updated in my reading life. So today is my February wrap-up, except not only because I only read one book this month, and so I am going to review this book right away. But before I get to that, I experimented kind of with also mentioning my favorite songs at the end of each of my monthly wrap-ups, or if there have been any songs that I want to mention, that I'll talk about them. And I kind of decided that I'm not really feeling that, so I still want to recommend songs to you, but I just won't do it on my YouTube anymore. But I will just do it on my Twitter, so at the end of every month I'll just make a thread of my favorite songs of that month and which songs I'm gonna recommend. And if you're interested in learning about my favorite songs of each month, then follow me on Twitter. Shameless self-plug, but the link is in the description down below if you're interested. So my wrap-up this month. First, I kind of continued reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the illustrated edition by J.K. Rowling. I am about 170 pages in. I still have, I think, around 100 to go, and I'm really enjoying it, but it's not really a book that I can carry around with me. And a lot of the times I don't read at home, so I don't get a lot of reading done in this book, sadly. But I will try to finish it within the next month. And then the book that I finished this month, almost entirely, because I think I only read about 60 or 70 pages last month, was The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, which is the first book in the Wheel of Time series. And can I just say that I absolutely love this edition and these covers, and I already got the second one, and they're so pretty and simple and they look really great together, and I really like that font. And sorry, just me fangirling over beautiful books. But anyway, you probably already know, if this isn't the first video you watched of me, that this year I am joining the Wheel of Time Along, for which I will again leave all the infos in the description box, the Goodreads group and everything. And I am sadly exactly one book behind because I didn't really read anything in January, but I am so far really enjoying this book. For those of you who don't know what this book is about, it's one of the classic epic high fantasy sagas, stories, series by Robert Jordan, and it was finished by Brandon Sanderson, because I think Robert Jordan died before he could finish it. It's a total of 14 books, which is absolutely crazy, and I am not sure if I can read all of the books this year. It's a pretty stereotypical story as far as high fantasy goes. It was first published in 1990, so I expect it to be stereotypical, honestly. I want it to be stereotypical. The story is typical. You have a dark power that is threatening to take over the world, and then you have a group of young people who are just somehow connected to this dark power and to banishing it again and to saving the world. And that's in essence the essence of the story. I'm not really sure if I should say this is a spoiler-free review or not, because I won't really get into any spoilers, into any specific scenes, but then at the same time I will talk about specific characters and about character traits of those characters. So if you don't want any info going into this book, aside from the fact that I really enjoyed it, I enjoyed the writing. It is kind of tropey, but again, it's expected from this book. Also, this book is kind of slow and there's not a lot happening aside from little fights and battles. But again, that is to be expected kind of, since it is the first book in a 14-book series. So it's mostly just set up, an introduction to the characters, an introduction to the forces they have to fight against, an introduction to the intrigues going on in this world, etc, etc. So if you don't mind all of this, I would definitely recommend you go and pick this up, because it is a great setup. I really want to continue on reading this series, and I am very stoked to find out how it's gonna continue. As far as the characters go, I have to say that I only really fell in love with 3 characters. One of them is Perrin. I also really love Lan, which again is a funny thing because I guess English pronunciation would be Lan, but with fantasy books I often kind of mix how I would pronounce it in German and how I would pronounce it in English, because in German you would pronounce Lan, and in English I guess Lan, and I just say Lan. I don't know why. And then Nineveh, the Wisdom. I really like both of those characters as well. Then characters I really dislike, which only is really one. I hate Egwene. I don't know why. From the first time she appeared in this book, she just annoyed me so much, and I don't know why. I can't really find anything wrong with her. It's like with the one female love interest in The Assassin's Apprentice and the continuing books, which I forgot the name of, but it's just something. They're not like weak female characters. They are not stereotypical female characters. There's nothing really wrong with their character or anything, but I just hate them, and I just want him to die sometime in the book. I just severely dislike her. I am not a fan of Rand. I think he kind of has, at least in the first book, a bit of the main guy syndrome, where he doesn't really have much to his character. He doesn't really have much depth. He's kind of there and he's kind of bland. And Moiraine, she's an interesting character, but personally I don't have any feelings towards her. I don't like her, I don't dislike her. She'll either become a character that I will hate, because she'll just be a really intriguing type of character, or she'll be a character that I love in the future books, but I don't know yet. So that is as far as the characters go. As far as the evil stuff in the book goes, I mean, it's kind of stereotypical. I'm so far not blown away, honestly. But again, it's to be expected. I'm not expecting anything innovative as far as high fantasy goes, as I expect, for example, with a lot of Brandon Sanderson's works, that there's a twist on the magic systems, or a twist on character tropes, or a twist on the world building. I just expect good old reliable high fantasy. Then the only thing that I really don't like about this book, but there's just so like not anything in it, so I can just overlook it, is the romance, because the main romance between Rand and Egwene is kind of expected for me to not like it, because I hate Egwene and Rand is kind of a bland character, so I'm just like, eh. Also, it's kind of inconsistent. I found that with both romances, and I'll try not to mention the second one, because again, that's a spoiler. But Rand and Egwene is kind of, there's parts where they suddenly like have always been in love, and then at the beginning it was kind of only hinted that Egwene is playing like a kind of game of tag with Rand, and then there's this whole other story with Egwene where you're like, okay, so does Rand only like her, but she doesn't like him? But then at the end it's again, no, she also likes him a lot, and it's just all very confusing. And then the second romance was hinted at the beginning, and I really liked it and I really enjoyed it. However, I would have liked it more if it wasn't like only hinted at the very beginning and then at scenes in between. If it wasn't at the end suddenly like, okay, so we're just madly in love with each other and can't live without each other, and you're just like, where did it come from? They didn't even really have that many interactions that we could see in the book. I mean, of course, there could have been a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but correct me if I'm wrong, but in a book, to have a relationship development between two characters, you have to at least tell us if there has been any interaction between them. You don't have to show us, but like, in some way you have to tell us. So yeah, romance-wise, just don't read it for the romance aspect. Don't read it if you expect a good romance, but just read it if you want to read a reliable, good fantasy book that is easy to get into. Honestly, I expected to get into it a lot harder, considering that it's such a long series and that there would have to be a lot of world building, but I didn't find it too confusing. I thought the stuff was well explained, and the stuff that I didn't understand yet or that wasn't explained yet doesn't hinder me in enjoying this first book, and I'm sure it will be explained at a later point. I think that was it for this review right now. Also, I will probably not do a review on every single book in this series because I probably won't have time to do a lot of in-depth reviews, but I will just check back in every 4 or 5 books and just generally give a review and say if I still think the series is worth reading, if I want to continue on with the series, if I want to finish the series, and of course I will tell you in my wrap-ups if I have read another book in the series. And with that said, leave me your comments down below what you thought about The Eye of the World, if you have read it, if you're interested in reading it, what you read this month, all that kind of jazz. And all the links to my social media are in the description box down below. Again, if you're interested in what K-pop songs I listened to this month, my Twitter is down below, as well as my Instagram, where I kind of keep you updated what I'm currently reading, except not really. That happens mostly on Goodreads. And I also finally made a Tumblr. But anyway, I need to stop babbling now. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And also think about subscribing maybe. And I hope I'll see all of you soon. Bye!